Good morning, boys and girls. Today I'm going to read you story read one of The Puddle Pail. It's a story written and illustrated by Lisa Clevens, and this is a book about two brothers who like to make collections. One bright morning after a storm, Ernest, the young blue crocodile, and his big green brother Saul set out for the beach. They skipped through the wet grass and stamped through the mud, drumming on their shiny pails. "I'm going to fill my pail with shells," said Saul, who loved to collect things. "And I'm going to fill my pail with sand and build a sandcastle," said Ernest, who loved to make things. "Maybe I'll find some rocks too," said Saul. "All shapes and colors for my rock collection. And some feathers for my feather collection, and maybe some string." Saul bent down to pick up a rubber band. "Just the thing for my rubber band collection." "You ought to start collecting, Ernest." "I don't know what to collect," Ernest said. "Collect something you really like," said Saul. "Something that comes in different sizes and colors and shapes. That way your collection will be interesting." And these are all the different things that they were talking about collecting. Ernest watched the clouds make flower shapes and seahorse shapes in the windy sky. He watched a little snake cloud puff up into a dragon. He watched a rabbit cloud curl into a ball. "Clouds are interesting," he said. "I wish I could collect clouds." "Clouds!" exclaimed Saul. "You can't collect clouds. Think of something else you like." "Stars," said Ernest. "Imagine the sky at night. I love to watch the stars." "But you can't collect stars either," said Saul. "They're too far away and too big and very, very hot." "They look so small and cold," said Ernest. "I wish I could collect stars." "I know," said Saul. "Starfishes. You could collect them." "I like starfishes in the ocean," said Ernest, "but I don't think I want to collect them." "Well," Saul suggested, "what about star-shaped cookies? You could collect star-shaped butter cookies with frosting. And star-shaped chocolate cookies with sprinkles," Ernest added. "And star-shaped cherry cookies with roasted nuts," said Saul. Ernest's mouth watered. "I wish I could collect a bunch of cookies right now. Oh, in my stomach." He must be hungry. Just then something caught Saul's eye, a bottle cap laying in a puddle. "Look at that sparkly bottle cap, Ernest. You could start a bottle cap collection." "It's pretty," Ernest agreed, "but I like the puddle it's in even more." "The puddle?" said Saul. "It looks like a little piece of sky on the ground." "I wish I could collect it." "You can't collect puddles," said Saul. "Yes, I can collect puddles," said Ernest. "They're not too far away or too big or too hot, and I don't want to eat them." Splish splash, Ernest scooped the puddle into his pail. "Ernest," said Saul, "you're not really going to start a puddle collection, are you?" "Yes," said Ernest. "I am." He scooped up a green puddle, round as a saucer. Splash, sploosh. It joined the other puddle in a pail. Saul rolled his eyes. "Since you're going to stay here collecting puddles, I'm going down to the beach by myself and collect real things." "Puddles are real," thought Ernest as he reached for more to collect. "Here's a purple puddle, and a striped puddle, and a flowered one. Here's a puddle full of diamonds and full of squares. Here's a puddle full of gumballs and full of brooms. A puddle that looks like an Easter egg. A puddle like a wheel, and with a pretzel in it. Slippery puddles and smooth puddles, lemony puddles, lettery puddles, cool puddles. Ernest sang a song as he scooped the puddles up. Splish, splash, he sang the puddles as he slid into the pail. Saul came back with his pail piled up high. Look what I got, Ernest. 12 seashells, 8 feathers, 9 little rocks, 3 clumps of seaweed, a marble, half a nutshell, and a plastic dinosaur without a head. I got a lot of puddles, Ernest announced, all different sizes and colors and shapes. Saul peered into Ernest's pail. Your puddles have all run together. They look like a pail full of ordinary water. They're one big puddle now, said Ernest. An Ernest and Saul puddle. That's the weirdest collection I've ever heard of, Saul replied. What can you do with that? What can you do with a puddle? I'll think of something. Ernest carried his pail carefully as they started for home. I know, said Saul. You can help me wash the sand off of my new collection. You can wash your own collection, Ernest replied. I'll think of something else to do with my puddle. Ernest set his puddle pail on the grass and sat down to swing. While he swung, his puddle slowly turned from gold to pink. Clouds swam in and out like fish. When the night fell, stars collected in the puddle pail, and a little piece of moon too. See the stars and the moon in his puddle? Early the next morning, Ernest went out to check on his pail. A thirsty dog was drinking from it. You like my magic puddle soup? Ernest asked. The dog wagged her tail and drank some more, leaving Ernest just enough water to paint some watercolor pictures. Kind of like we do in art sometimes. Ernest painted a dog. He painted some clouds and some stars. And many puddles. Saul came by, his pail filled with flowers and acorns and leaves. I started some new collections, he said. What have you got there, Ernest? A dog, replied Ernest. So he has a dog here and here. And he said, and I have a painting collection. Oh, said Saul, what a collection! With clouds and stars and everything. I used part of my puddle collection to make it, Ernest explained. The dog drank the other part. Ernest petted the dog. He looked at the clouds and at the stars and the puddles shining on the grass. He felt proud and happy, and hungry too, since he hadn't eaten breakfast yet. Let's go collect blackberries, he said from the bushes down the road. Good idea. Saul grabbed his pail. Maybe we'll find some pennies on the way, and some pine cones and gum wrappers. And maybe some shadows too, said Ernest. Shadows, said Saul. You can't. Yes, I can collect shadows, Ernest cried. He caught one for a second in his pail. And when it fluttered off, he and Saul filled their pails and themselves with sweet, juicy blackberries. So just like when we were in class, I have a question for you about the story, The Puddle Pail. So, you can answer this question maybe with mom or dad or whoever's home with you. So my first question for you is, can you think of other things besides puddles with shadows or reflections that wouldn't last very long if you collected them? So on this next to last page, where he had this shadow that landed in his pail, he thought about collecting these, but you can see that the butterfly flew off, so his collection did not last. He lost that shadow. So what is something else that would not last for very long? Okay, so think of something else besides a puddle or a shadow or a reflection that maybe wouldn't last very long if you tried to collect it. Okay, so you can talk about it with mom, dad, or whoever's home with you. All right, so I will see you again maybe tomorrow or the day after with story read number 2. Bye, guys.